up to your feet and bubbles up through your body, and the next thing you know, you're just lit up with that. And it's and to have that, you know, every time, every take, we're both sort of laughing and playing and seeing how far we could push it, and turning into these, like, there's just a lot of space to just.
Whether you're here or in New York, we will never forget, and I think still are imbued with this sense of being on that outside looking in. And when will it ever happen for us? And so-and-so is doing it, and so-and-so is doing it, and I'm going to be left behind, and why even bother to dream? But the truth be told is he's both, because he's a self-made guy who was a lifelong civil servant. But how refreshing it was to not be playing the genius, the gifted one, all that stuff. All the characters in the audience in the script imbues you with this status that you don't really possess, but you. And I know what it's like to wish someone else hadn't embarrassed me in the street. Wish that I'd gotten past that velvet rope to go into that club. Wish that I'd gotten the call back for that part. Wish that I'd gotten the second date with that girl. Wished. So. Well, I mean, also in the Marvel days, like everything might change, or we're talking to a tennis ball, or I mean, you and I, the science bros, we would have these long passages about absolute gobbledygook. But still, it's important to us because we know it's important to the characters.
Yeah, but we didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it'd be a little hard to dig in. I mean, we would just drive each other insane on set, going like, "Why can't I retain this?" But again, we know when it's time to tighten things up a little bit. Anyway, I found great joy in it. And it was this 50-year circle of going back to Santa Fe where I was with my dad when he shot this film called Greaser's Pal. I want the scene to start like this. I want it to work. I go, you want it to work as a oneer? No, we don't have it. And he goes, Downey says we don't have it. So Mark, you can go to lunch. We'll scrap all those takes and we'll start over again.
Exactly.
He looked at me.
And he invented the delete button. There was no delete button ever in digital cinema. Yeah. And he specifically had it invented so that he could say, we're going to delete takes 1 through 45. And you're just like, no.
But you know, why
38 was my baby.
But isn't it because some part of this just wants to be off the hot seat and done?
It was a screen test that turned into our first day. Yorgos had billed it. Yorgos Lanthimos had billed it as a screen test. But we're in full costume, full set, full everybody, everyone's there. And it's a scene between me and Willem. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
It's the first time, it's the only scene we really have together.
Yeah.
And I'm sweating bullets. I am shitting my pants. I'm like, what in the hell am I doing
I
here?
like that Willem is in full SFX makeup and you're sweating.
And he's sitting there like this. Really? And Yorgos comes up to me. And then you come and you do this part in Oppenheimer.
Dr. Oppenheimer. An honor. Mr. Strauss. It's pronounced Strauss.
It's just another level, you know, it's just you break it all down, you put yourself out in a way that you didn't have to. We see a total character, a physical change, a vocal change, a different kind of guy. None of the mannerisms of anything that we'd ever seen before that you had perfected and had become so second nature to you. I'd still be living in the garage that she found me in.
Oh, brother.
It's beautiful. And yeah, it was a blast. It was such a gift, and it was such a, you know, that moment where you're like, I don't know which way to go anymore. I don't even know how I feel about this anymore. And then
I know you, dude. Even that scene you're on the bench and you're yelling the C word, and I'm just like, this is not my brother here. Like, it's just not in your wheelhouse to think, to act, or behave that way. I would know it. And the last time I really, really did that was for the Iron Man screen test, when there were these 3 scenes that I could have been off book in 2 days, but I just went crazy on them for 2.5 months. This time I needed the 3 to 5 months. So I, again, like theater, I started with the words, and I knew that I wanted to do enough physically to be different. I knew that in black and white, getting the right shape would be good, and losing the right amount of weight and moving a certain way. And again, like,
we have all of this product that is either already part of something or a brand. And then you have Oppenheimer come out, which is completely original kind of source material. And it explodes in a time where people are like really wondering, well, what is cinema now? After Marvel, after franchises, you know, after IP, what is cinema now? But then also all that play, like Emma laughs, her laugh like travels the world, you know? When she laughs, it comes up to your feet and bubbles up through your body, and the next thing you know, you're just lit up with that. And it's and to have that, you know, every time, every take, we're both sort of laughing and playing and seeing how far we could push it, and turning into these, like, there's just a lot of space to just.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that, but she gave me great advice
advice.
about, you know, kind of like your life becoming public. I met her last year, and she said, if you try to run away from it, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And if you lean into it, you might actually enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And were you working closely with him on the character / accent, or was that a thing where you were like, day one, you're like, here it is?
With Yorgos?
Yeah.
No, he does not talk about that stuff.
Okay, interesting.
He's like, you know, he's very
because he's thinking about other things, or because
he kind of
wants
like lets you do your thing,
Okay,
and then
okay.
he can gauge it from there, which I am actually kind of used to that process, and I really enjoy it because it gives you a lot of freedom to sort of. It's weird because I confuse myself with my personality, because half of me is like a total ham performer, like
Yes.
class clown,
Yes.
and the other half of me is like a terrified, like everything has to be perfect or else the whole world is going to fall apart.
Yes.
Like anxious, but those two things, and it's gotten a lot easier as I've gotten older.
Okay, good.
But as a kid, those two sides were so confusing to try to marry.
Yes.
Because it was like, one was like way too old for how old I was, and one was like just being a kid and
Yes.
being hammy.
Yes.
And it's really, it was
just like me, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, and John Lithgow. And I really had no career at this point, so I was like the fraud a little bit in the room. And I saw it and I loved it, but then I went home to my dad and I like wept for an hour.
Why?
Because I just figured my part was like bigger or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
no.
They didn't even like cut anything. I just figured, I don't know what I figured. Like,
it just felt so giant when you were
yeah,
doing
that's exactly it.
And while you were reading
That's it.
you
The
were like,
sets were
this
so
is-
big.
Yeah.
Also, there's this. I have this monologue in space. That's like McConaughey's like most brilliant acting in the movie, where he's getting those video logs.
Oh,
I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen. He starts
yeah.
weeping, and it's really amazing. And the whole thing plays on him, as it should, because that moment's about him. Whatever. Great
I
people.
truly have never, in my whole time working, which is, I guess, longer than, but it's not that long, I guess. It's like 12 or 13 years now. Well, I guess that is kind of long. Have never, ever made a decision because I was like, this is the kind of thing I need to do now.
Okay.
It's always been falling in love with either an element, or now, if you're lucky enough, you know, to get to the place where you get to start making choices,
Right,
which
right.
is crazy
Right.
and so rare. And I know will not last forever, like will ebb and flow. Now
that
I
you do
try
the
to like
disclaimers,
combine all
yes.
three elements of
Yeah.
like the script, the character, and the director. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've like was insanely anxious as a child, and a therapist told me once that if you're
I read
ever
about
like
this.
in panic, but they said to me, if you're ever in, you know, absolute panic and you feel like you're out of your body, just, this is a gray chair. This is a table. This is a plant. And you just kind of look around for a minute or two and just say what's real and around you. And
Yeah.
it really does bring you back into your body.
Yeah, and it grounds you or something.
But that makes a lot of sense
You
for
just
acting. I
reminded
never
me
really
about
used
that.
it in those moments.
And we don't have to like talk about that because I guess it's not so much movies. Okay, then Superbad, which at the time for me, and I'm speaking for guys and girls my age everywhere, like that exists like in the Mean Girls universe for me. Like as far as like defining
That's awesome.
like a moment for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
what was that? did that feel like a get when you got it? Was it insane being on that set? What was like Jonah like at that age? That was like his first gig?
Yeah, because he was 23, maybe 22 or 23, and I was 17. And no, I was out of my mind with excitement. I was so happy to do that. I also worked for like
Where it was all new still, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, everyone has to be doing this now."
Yeah.
And I think what I've seen is like with you or J-Law or like Beyonce or Frank Ocean. Well, I guess he's now on it.
Wow,
But
this group is
people,
really...
No, sorry. But when people are like at a certain level or something, you're not doing it, and I think that's so badass or something. And
I mean, honestly, I think it's more because I would be overwhelmed by being like putting something out there and then being like, why did I say that?
Okay.
Or what were these comments? I think it would just be too much of an influx for my personality.
is to it all.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's not is to it all.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's not obvious. And then I did Call Me by Your Name with Army, and I felt so safe.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the ability to be ugly or be bad or
Yeah.
like not be able to weep in a scene where you're supposed to weep or whatever, and you don't
Right.
feel like you're getting judged or something. And with Steve, before you have any sort of career, and
Yeah.
he put me at such ease, and because I feel, I know a lot of British people that can do excellent American accents.
Yes, me too.
And the
tough.
pool is a little bit smaller
It's a little
on the
bit
American
smaller.
end.
But it's also
So-
that a lot of British people have gone to drama school and have been listening to the
American
American
shows,
accent
right.
for such a long time.
And we're
so
just
they've
looking at
worked on
American
it. And we're
things
like, oh, guys,
yeah.
like a terrible British accent. So the preparation for that, it wasn't too extensive because we had a long rehearsal process with
Okay.
Yorgos.
What's long, like 3
Like
weeks?
3 weeks. You worked on, this is a little bit personal between us, but we have another connection.
Yes.
You worked on the movie Miss Stevens with
Oh my gosh.
Jordan
Yes.
and Julia.
Yes.
Jordan Horowitz produced La La Land.
Yes.
And they just really wanted me to bring that up.
No,
Because they're wonderful human beings.
they're
and they
wonderful
love you
human beings,
very much.
and truly, like I dropped out of college when Interstellar came out to make it a little full circle because I was like, great.
Really?
I was like, this thing's gonna come out.
Before it came out, you dropped out?
Yeah, and I was
Wow.
like, and I'll just.
How long did you go to college?
I went for a year.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll ride the path of
You're
this.
just gonna coast.
Nope, like it was like not a thing.
How did you find the relentless schedule and having to 8 shows a week, keep digging in? Like, did you find it tedious? Did you find it liberating?
A lot of people told me, you're going to have so much time, you just got to go to the theater in the afternoon, you got your whole days. I didn't find that at all.
No.
I got off stage, you're emotionally drained, you're physically exhausted. I just wanted to go to bed, and then before you know it, you're right back at the theater. I think
Right.
that's exactly, when I was watching Marriage Story, I was saying to someone I was watching it with, I was like, Scarlett just lets you, I think it's always tough watching people in film, just because you know them, and you know what I mean? And I think every actor, no matter who you are, you have to call from your own experiences, so you're always going to say, oh, there's a little bit of
Right. There's
the
stuff.
person I know.
Yeah.
When I was watching Marriage Story, I was like, man, Scarlett has a way of just, that's not Scarlett. Like, she found, like, even in, like, the subtle, the opening of that movie, like, I was just in love with both of your characters. But I played a villain, and within the play, Michael Cera, who's in the show with me, is kind of the moral compass, and certainly the one that you identify with as an audience member in terms of what would you do in the scenario. So as he navigates these ebbs and flows, when he would go through things, you could hear the audience, and these bonds are formed, of common, humanity. My impact on the audience was people identifying me as the person in their life that they despise. And, if I'm doing my job well, they hate me, which is fine. But I think to didn't answer the question, did
Would you
I?
come back?
You never say never. I loved the character. I don't
not
know.
a hard no.
It's not a hard no, but it's not an
Definite, yeah.
eager yes. I think Cap had such a tricky arc to stick the landing. you know, and I think they did a really nice job letting him complete his journey. And if you're going to revisit it, you know, you can't be a cash grab.
Oh yeah, that would be, you know, you jump at that chance. But having been through it myself with also a partner that I was with that had also another big kind of iconic superhero thing that he was working on, and it's the pressure. You don't know how it's going to go, right? No. I mean, it seems ridiculous now because of how successful the Marvel stuff is, but it could be like career ending. I felt like that at the time, right? If it went the wrong way. And even in success,
you know, because again, they're not beholden to the box office numbers, and they don't have to do all these, you know, testings, and you know, it feels like movies sometimes get inundated with studio notes, and all of a sudden, what was once an original idea becomes boiled down to the lowest common denominator, and then you have no one's favorite movie, but everyone's like lukewarm movie, and I think that's why people are maybe turning away and looking to things like streaming service shows that actually are innovative and taking risks.
And it was so nice to work with you because, you know, I felt that we had a great chemistry as actors, and you know, there was a sort of naturalistic approach that I felt kind of that was, you know, there was some likeness there between us, and then we also got to work together on the Nanny Diaries, which again was such a pleasure and also just very easy. No, this was a different project.
Oh, it was another one.
It was another project that Noah had never. I don't think he ended up actually making it, and I actually thought that he would never call me again. I don't know. I'm sure you probably have had that experience before, where you feel like you kind of, you know, like maybe something didn't work out professionally, and you're like, well, there goes that relationship, and that's never happened to you. Yeah, right. And so I was so surprised when he called me 10 years later, more, 15 years later, to meet and talk about something. I just thought, you know, a couple of days that have mentioned to me that a couple of extremely esteemed directors have been, you know, really vocal about how movies, you know, the kind of whole Marvel universe and these, I guess, big kind of blockbuster action movies are really like, you know, using words like despicable and like the death of cinema. And I actually, you know, at first I thought, oh, that seems kind of old-fashioned. And somebody sort of had to explain it to me because it seemed so kind of disappointing and sad in a way. But I also, it's funny how as an actor, you sometimes, you know what, I feel like if you have an idea, and this is probably good advice for actors that are kind of coming up or starting out in film, if you have a good idea for something, you should ask for another take. Or you feel like you maybe have something else in you that you're curious about, you should ask for another take because it will haunt you forever. And even if I've done, I mean, Noah, in stark contrast to Ryan, is just like, he's relentless, and you can do, you know, 45, 50 takes of one, you know.
And I don't know if the audience knows on a kind of a conscious level, but I really believe that they experience on a subliminal level that this is happening in camera.
I agree, and I know Chris Nolan definitely lives by the same rules of like everything's in camera, everything's practical, and I think what CGI can do, what VFX can do, is like incredible, and as a tool to complement work, it's amazing. But when it's relied on too heavily, there's something about that like infinite quality to like looking at something that's just like could go on forever, where you, I don't know, I find I get detached. I'm kind of like, something in me can sense that it's not real, and so I don't really care. I don't really care if that thing explodes or that building falls down because it's not real. Like, you just know when it's not real. On Wednesdays we wear pink day. Do you know that reference from Mean Girls?
I had forgotten that reference.
On Wednesdays, they wear pink.
Okay.
And so if you didn't wear pink on set, you got a fine, and then I'd donate it to charity. And honestly, people leaned in. Like, I was like, you can wear pink socks, that's enough. And people were like, no, I'm happy to, like, you know. It's always like the guys, I feel like, that are like, oh, finally I have permission to wear pink and get dressed up.
Every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
How long did you shoot for?
Quite a long time. Can I ask something off topic?
Sure.
In my opinion, there are two kinds of people in this world. There are the people who are obsessed with Peaky Blinders, and then there's the people who haven't seen Peaky Blinders.
Right.
I obviously sit in the first category. So can we please talk about Tommy fucking Shelby just for like 1 minute?
Sure, if you like, yeah.
What was it like?
Oh.
I mean, that was years and years of your life.
Yeah, it's like 10.
It's like it was like all my usual tools didn't apply for this character. So I usually, like, I have the things that I do, and I work with an acting coach, and I work with a dialect coach, and I work with a movement coach, and I read everything, and I watch all the things. And when it's a real life person or whatever, it's the things that you were talking about. If it's a made up person, whatever, I rely on animal work a lot. And I was, you know, maybe like 45 minutes into pretending to be a flamingo or whatever, and I was suddenly like, it's not what.
I think you can kind of feel that in the movie. I do think that stuff transfers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it all trickles down from the top. Like, whatever mood the director sets, it's like it seeps into everything. And Greta just sets like the most like joyful space. I mean, I can't speak to her other sets. I wasn't on them, but I mean, she's so joyful and supportive and exciting, and just she's just brilliant. And you can feel that. And I don't know, I always think of it like it's like when little kids can sense that their parents are like angry or frustrated, even if like a parent's like, I'm fine, but they're slamming the dishes, you know, like a kid's going to be like a little bit like on edge, even if they don't understand it. They're like, you know, that happens on a film set. Like, I've seen that happen where you can just feel everyone tensing because you know your director or someone else in a position of, you know, importance is giving that vibe, and everyone's suddenly like a little apprehensive, and that's and we just did not need that vibe.
It has to come from the top.
And I was like, I don't want her to seem dumb and ditzy, but she's also not meant to know anything. She's meant to be completely naive and ignorant. And Greta found this episode on This American Life, a podcast, where it was a woman who doesn't or can't introspect, like doesn't have the voice in her head.
Oh, wow.
That's like constantly narrating life the way we all do. And so that was like an instance where I was like, oh, so she doesn't have that voice. And this woman's like, you know, got a PhD and is extremely smart, but just doesn't have that internal monologue.
Yeah.
But I prep like a psychopath as well.
It's the only way, isn't it?
I'll prep as long as I possibly. COVID happened, and so I ended up prepping the one role for like a year, and I was like losing my mind by the end of it. My husband walked in, and I was like making like weird masks and stuff, and I was like covered in paint. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I think I've gone too far with this character. We need this to end. I need to get on set."
It's the only way, though. I think this is the only.
Because then I can walk on set and just be like totally. So the studio's talking, each marketing department's talking to each other, and I was like, no, this is the world doing this. This is not a part of the marketing campaign. This is just happening.
And I think it happened because like both movies were good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And there was a sort of a diversity offered by both movies. In fact, that's summer, there was a huge diversity of stuff in the cinema, and like, I think it just connected. Hey Barbie or whatever, is that what happens?
A lot of high Barbies.
Yeah.
A lot of, It's funny because the waving thing wasn't that big of a thing, and then on set it just got bigger and more ridiculous to the point where it was like, the waving was like so, something about Barbie, like she needs to be so earnest that she's almost a dork. But she's like, but you're kind of like, no, but I still like you. And somehow waving really like, really just summed that up. And so we just kept doing it. And Oppenheimer and Barbie.
That was a good instinct.
Clearly, the world agreed.
Yeah,
Thank
they
God.
did. But I think that both of these films show the appetite that the audience has for cinema.